What up, y'all? Boy, have I got a treat for you today. So, first box of the month come up, and guess who it is? Collectible Geek. So, someone we haven't heard from in a long time, with good reason. I did a few videos on Collectible Geek, because they were one of my first boxes I ever got, and I was not pleased at all. And there's a long story to go along with it. So if you haven't checked out my Collectible Geek box videos, check them out. They were a sad, sad, poor company. Now it's time for story time. I'm going to tell a little story. Gather around, children. Take a seat. It's story time. So if you don't want to listen to this story, it's not a ramble, it's just a story. If you don't want to listen to it, feel free to skip ahead. But everyone else, you're totally going to hear a very interesting story. So, on that note, hold up. Let me get my Avengers shit in place. And as you can see, I wore my Green Hulk themed glasses because it's an Avengers themed box. And every time they come out with a box, it's like, wow, that theme's so good. How could they possibly go wrong with it? And then they do. So, backtrack, back in time. So we go back to my first box I got with them, my Deadpool collectible cash box. I thought, how could they go wrong? And they did. They went horribly, horribly wrong. They just did a bad job. And I kind of went off on them for a while. Wasn't trying to be mean or anything, but I kind of like, man, it sucked. So, right after that video was posted, some of you may remember, those who've watched me from the beginning remember, if not, you can go back and reference it. I talked about how, I think it was in a weekly roundup, that someone from Collectible Geek sent me a private message and said, hey, I watched your review on our box and wondering if you had a minute to chat. Now, I got a little nervous for a second because I figured he was pissed off, but then I'm like, well, you know what? I have nothing to be nervous about. I stand by my opinions. I don't think I said anything inappropriate. I stand by everything I said. So yeah, I responded to him like, yeah, you know what? I'm more than happy to talk. Like, here's my number. Hit me up anytime. Never heard a response. And that was the end of it. So, jump to another month. They did their Disney cash. And again, I thought, how could they go wrong with this box? And they did. So the same thing. About a few days after I did the review on that one and posted it, same thing happened. A representative from Collectible Geek came to me. This time, it was their CEO. And he said the same thing. I heard you saying that someone from Collectible Geek contacted you and never responded. That's unacceptable. I heard you have problems with their company. We'd like to talk about that. And I said, sure. Like, I'm more than happy to talk about it. Because I mentioned that in the other Collectible Geek videos. Like, I'm not trying to hate on anyone. I'm not trying to bash these companies. I'm trying to help. I want to help you out. So I was going to take it upon myself to tell them, like, hey, Collectible Geek, I'm not hating on you, but here's some tips on what you could do better. I advise you take those. Because I want to see you succeed as much as you want to. There's no reason why we both can't win in this situation. This isn't a battle here. We're not fighting against each other. I want to help you. We can both win here. But anyway, the guy said, like, he asked the name of the person that contacted me and because he wanted to get to the bottom of it. So I told him, and I'll leave names out of this because they've asked me respectfully, so to leave names out of it. No problem. So he asked me the name of the first guy that contacted me and ignored me. And I told him, and within like an hour, that guy contacted me, and he's like, oh my gosh, I heard someone from our company ignored you. Who was it? And I'm like, oh, funny you should ask that, sir, because it was you. You were the one who ignored me. You were the one who did that. So it's kind of funny that same guy came back making a comment. It's like, okay, you were the one who ignored me. And on a side note, the CEO said, like, it's ridiculous the amount I got charged for shipping, because I mentioned that. I got charged $15 for shipping. He said, that's ridiculous. That's too much for shipping. And I say, I agree that's too much for shipping. He says, you live in California. You shouldn't have gotten charged that much for shipping. Why did that happen? And I said, again, funny you should ask that. Irony. The reason I got charged that was because of you, Mr. CEO. When I ordered that box, the Disney Cash box, they had sold out. So I contacted them to see if they had any left over, talked to the CEO directly, and he charged me directly. So it was his fault that I got charged that. So I was just pointing out the irony for both people. Like, one saying, I can't believe that happened, I wonder why. And it's like, well, it was directly your fault, so it was you. And the other person, that's so weird, I wonder why that happened. Well, ask yourself that question. So it was very funny to do that. So anyway, I got into a kind of a conversation about both of these people. Because I'm not ashamed of anything I say. I stand by my statements. All I was doing was being honest. From a collector's standpoint, I was honest, and if they're offended by that, that's not my fault. If they're offended by their own product, then they need to change things. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but that's how it is. I shouldn't have to take back what I say for just being honest. So, I talked to both of these guys, and they both said, like, hey, it looks like you don't like our videos. Like, how do you feel about bashing other companies? And I'm like, well, I'm not bashing your companies. How do you feel about the products you put out? And I just laid it out there. I said, listen, like, your Deadpool box, like, you did this, this, and this, and it only got this value. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, are you comfortable? Are you proud putting a product out like that? And then that's where it got into some serious conversation. Like, both of them said, like, not the CEO, the other one said, like, you know, we're not proud of a lot of things. And then they started to divulge some information. We're going through some company changes. We're trying to revamp the company and take it in another direction. Because he said himself, like, they're not proud of a lot of the products they put out. And they also mentioned, you know, they're a new company. They can't buy things wholesale. And they don't get them as cheap as other companies. And I said, I understand that. I get that. I totally do. And that's why I've stuck with this company. Because since Box 1, even though it was horrible, I knew they had potential. And that's why I've always hung around. So the good thing is they have such amazing customer service, and they actually listen to their customers. So they're taking that in, and they revamped the company. They hired all new staff, people that are specialists at this, and they've taken in all your comments and criticisms. Mine specifically. I'll show you in this box how my influence is in this box. The things I've guided them for shows in this box. So I'm happy to be one of the people that brought this company to fruition. So happy to do it. But anyway, that was just a funny story about these two people. They actually sought me out. I didn't seek them out. So the good news is about it, they obviously have good customer service, and they do care about their name, and they do care about their customers. So if there is a problem, they'll take it to heart, and they'll fix it. They're open to suggestions, and I've given a whole ton of them. And they listen. They listen to the suggestions because they're changing things. So that's just a funny story about Collectible Geek. Like, that's my story about them. They contacted me, and we had this whole tiff and taff back and forth, and we resolved things. And it's taken till now to get the box because they keep selling out. I don't know if they have limited supply or not, but they seem to sell out pretty quickly. Anyway, that's my story about the box. We'll talk more about it as we get into it. But for now, let's actually get into it. Who better to drink from than Iron Man in an Avengers-themed box? So I'm not going to lie, I didn't have very high hopes for this box. Their previous boxes were crap. I knew it was going to be better. I knew they're learning. I knew they're getting things at wholesale. But I didn't have very high hopes for it. But let's take a look. Let's crack open this box and see what we got. Alright, Collectible Geek, show me your shit. So first off, we got a t-shirt. And again, One-Off Box does the same thing. Collectible Geek stamps their logo on the shirts. I really don't like that. Just leave the shirt. Like, we're not advertising for you. Anyway, I actually got this really cool shirt. So, it just shows the Hulk. An outline of the Hulk with, like, gamma radiation. It's simple, but it's nice. Again, I'm probably not a huge fan of the purple color. And I'll have to try it on to see if it fits any better. Yeah, this one's the heavy cotton, so these are the ones that typically don't fit very well. But I'll try it on and see how it is. But other than that, the design looks pretty cool. So, there's your t-shirt. Cool little design. I like they kept it simple. Nice Hulk theme. Next, we have a Hulk plush figure. Now this is actually a really nice figure. It's good quality, I mean. The stitching's nice. The fabric's nice. It's very soft. It's like, it has its shape so it holds its own. It can stand up so it holds its own shape. That's pretty nice for a plush figure. I've seen some crappy ones and this is not one of them. So they actually picked a good quality one and didn't stuff it with some garbage. So I actually really like it. I'm not the biggest fan of Hulk, but I still like this. Since the movies have come out, I'm a fan of all the Avengers. It wasn't the story before the movies. They used to suck, but now that they're out, like I like all of them. So I think that's cool. It's a very good quality figure, and I like that. Alrighty. Next item, which I found very cool. Couldn't figure out where it was. It came in this little tin, which is a heart-shaped tin, by the way. There's a little heart cut out in there, which is super weird, and I'm not sure how that's fitting. But there's a little Iron Man mask, which is cool. He's shiny. And you look on the back, and it's a flash drive. I love that. I use flash drives all the time, and I always want to get the Marvel Hero ones, but they're always so expensive. So yeah, just got a little Iron Man flash drive. I think that's great. I think that's super cool. I'll totally use that. I actually genuinely like that item. Good choice. Cool. Alright. Next is a keychain of Thor's hammer. I always forget how to pronounce it. The Mjolnir, whatever. But yeah. Here's his hammer. And it's actually like heavy, like metal stuff, so it's cool. I actually wanted a keychain just like that because I just think it's cool. So, got the hammer. Awesome. Nice little keychain. There you go. Next, we got some Captain America socks. So this is from a specific sock company, which I'm guessing they have a partnership with. And they feel nice, good quality. They're not like super socks or anything. They're not super nice, but they're decent quality. And not super special. It says Captain America. It has this shield right there. Alright, cool. I definitely like that. Like, again, quality isn't perfect, but, you know, that's okay. Got some socks. And then lastly, we got some art prints. And you guys know how I feel about art prints, especially from this box, because they've just been atrocious. But they went a different direction right now. And I gotta say, I appreciate it a little bit more. Because they put them in just cards. And it's nice. It's nice card stock. Like, you can feel the paper on here. It's good card stock. So it's not a poster made of, like, inkjet paper that's getting bent all over the place in your box. It's actually nice cards that are in good quality because they were flat on the box. And they're nice card stock. So these can be good. If you wanted to frame these up, you could. Also, if you wanted to send this as like a thank you card or something like that, you totally could because the back's blank. So it's actually somewhat useful. Or if you wanted to display it if you like this artist. So that's much better than what they were normally doing. The only suggestion that I would give to Collectible Geek is you gotta name the artist. Whoever's doing this, whether it's just a person at the company or an artist you found, name the artist in there. Put their name in there, put a short bio in there. It wouldn't cost anything extra, but it makes it that much more special. It makes a connection to it. When they know who it came from and that personal life, it's not just some jabroni that's just putting it together. Like, it makes it that much more special. When I buy artwork, I know that artist. I know them personally, or I've researched them in some way, or I'm a big fan of them. When you hand me artwork, even if it's good, if it's just from some stranger, it's like, well, it just takes away from it. Give people a chance to know the artist. Do a short little bio on one of these extra cards. I'm telling you, it would make a world of difference. That's my tip to you, so think about that. As an artist myself, I just think that's a good tip. But anyway, these are good, decent quality cards. So, let's jump into some value of this box. Alrighty, going backwards. So, the cards actually gave decent value. So $3 on these, maybe even like $5 on these, because they was printed on like nice quality paper. And to make these, it was nice. And you got 2 of them. And you can use these as like a greeting card, which makes them like, greeting cards like that would be like $4 or $5. So I think that deserves a little more value. And I appreciate that they're changing their style to accommodate things. I really appreciate that. So I'm going to give them a little more value on that. The hammer keychain. I'm going to put this right around $8 to $10. Most places online, it's right around $10 because it's like, it's heavy and it's metal. So it's actually really nice. It's cool. It's cool to display even if it's not a keychain. Just cool to have on display. So $8 to $10 on that. Next, the sockies. So Socks range anywhere from like 6 to 15, like they're all over the place. But these are like mid quality, not low, not high, but mid. So I'm going to put them at $8 to maybe $12 on the high end. A lot of these character socks usually go for like 12 bucks, but it might go a little lower than that. So 8 to 12 on these, because I still like them. They're still good socks, so I think it deserves that. The flash drive. So these flash drives, unfortunately, can, if you buy them like this, just out of the package and stuff, you can find them really cheap online. They're all over. You can find cheap flash drives for like $5 online. But if this was sold in a retail store, like any store, and what I think it's actually worth, if I had to go to a store and buy this, at least 10 to 12 bucks. Like the Marvel superhero ones, when you go to like Target and stuff, they want like 20 bucks for them, sometimes 30. They charge so much more for a character on there, so it's hard to put a range on there when the retail stores blow up the value on these, and then the online market, like, it's cheaper quality, but they sell them much cheaper. So I'm going to try and go in the middle here from like the blow up price and the ultra cheap, and I'm just going to say like 10 to 12 bucks. I think that's worth it. I paid 10 to 12 bucks for this. Like, I think that's a reasonable price. And I know, again, you can find them online for a lower price for like cheaper quality ones that are made of different material and stuff that don't come in any containers. But again, in store, in a container, it would be more. So 10 to 12 I think is a reasonable amount for the size it holds. And it looks cool, and I'm totally going to use it. So I was happy with that. The plush Hulk. Now, like I said, this is a nice quality Hulk. This isn't some cheap-ass little toy anymore. This isn't something that you want at the carnival that's going to fall apart in 2 seconds. There's no loose stitching or anything. Like, it has cool shape to it. Like I said, it can stand. This material's very soft. The stitching's done well. There's no loose threads at all. It's a good quality plush figure. As far as plush figures come, like, this is top-notch right here. I really liked it. They did a good job. So for this would be, like, anywhere from 10 to 15. So online, you can find them as cheap as $10 on the low end, but he goes as high as like 15, and some on eBay goes even higher than that. They want 20 and 25 for that, but that's not reasonable. So I bring it down to about 10 to 15. You'll find them for anywhere in that price range, right around there, and I think that's worth it. I think $10 for this is totally worth it. $12.99 is like an okay price. 15 is a little high. I probably wouldn't pay that, but still reasonable prices. So 10 to 15 on the Hulk plush. This one I should have tried on before I did the video, but I forgot to. But it feels a little rough. It's a good design. I like the design. It's really cool. I think it's a clever design, but very rough, and doesn't look super fitted or anything. So I'll have to try that on. I'll have to try that on my own time. But for now, I'll give it a 12 to 15 value. So I've started valuing t-shirts differently, but 12 to 50, I think it deserves that. It's a nice design. It's cool. 12 to 15, no problem. Alright, and that was everything in the box. It was an Avengers box. So the total value on this, the low end was about 44, but the high end was about 69. So you got to give or take prices in there. But in my honest opinion, like, I think this box was like pretty close to 60, like 50 to 60. I think it would be closer to 60. But anyway, that's a good value on this box, and that's the first one I've seen where they've done that. All the other boxes, you barely got what you paid for, and you got shit product. You really did. Like, it was the worst of the worst. It was on the bottom tier every time in my monthly review. But this is what I was saying about this company, you guys. I told you. Like, I kept with this company because it has potential. It has good potential. I see the future for them. They listen to their customers. They listen to me. They listen to me about this stuff. I give them specific pointers about this. And I bet they'll do something about the art print because I have a good opinion. So, yeah, I'm glad that they take advice. I'm glad they're stepping it up. This is what I've been saying about this box the whole time. I had faith in this box since day one that they would pick it up, and they did. I'm glad I stuck with them, so I'm glad that there's another box that's doing well because I think they have good style. So I'm hoping that they did a Ninja Turtles box next month, so I'm hoping that's just as good. So overall, I really like this box, which is weird to say because Collectible Geek's been my enemy for so long. So, the value on this was, depending on how you rate it, this was almost double, like very close to double on that, which is very good. That's a hard feat to accomplish, but they seem to have done it. So on this one, I think I'm going to give them a 7.5 out of 10. Maybe even an 8 if I think about it, but I think 7.5 is pretty good because that's a good box, good value, and you know, they hit all the Avengers. Like, they hit all the good ones. They got the Hulk stuff, they got Iron Man, and they got the Thor stuff, and they got Cap socks, like, all around good stuff. And it was interesting stuff. It wasn't all the same. Like, one was a keychain, the flash drive, socks, shirt, plush toy, so they kind of mixed it up there. So there was good variety, there was good value, and it hit all the characters. It was a good theme. So again, I'm totally surprised, but this was a pretty good box. So we'll see what next month brings with the Ninja Turtles box, if it's just as good, if they can keep on this path. If they do, I think I'll keep Collectible Geek around indefinitely, because I like ordering from them. I think they got good stuff. So here's to the future for Collectible Geek. It's nice to see them make the turn all the way around after that long talk I did with everything I went through with them. So ain't that always the case, though? Always issues with these box companies. I can't remember what else I needed to say. So anyway, this has been Collectible Geek. I hope you enjoyed. I hope my rant wasn't too long. Hope it was okay. So let me know what you think in the comments. Anyway, this has been Beardy Nerd. Just want to say thank you all so much for supporting me. Love you all. Peace.